Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you guys with another video. We got some interesting topics going on today.
Yeah, a lot of news from last night, and today's show is presented by Rip City The Beat.
Shout out to our guy PJ out there, good looking PJ. So we're gonna go over the Kyrie Irving situation. Our guy, sadly, Bones Jones. And we're going to give y'all top 5 fantasy sleepers this year.
Right. I can honestly say I was fucking shocked when that Kyrie, Isaiah, I was just sitting on the couch there and that broke. And I was just like, this cannot be fucking for real. Like we knew the trade was possibly going to happen. But did we really think like 2 superstar players were going to really be traded for each other? So let's kind of break down the trade for Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas plus others.
All right, so Kyrie Irving was traded to the Boston Celtics.
Right, which
is for who?
Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and a 2018 Nets first rounder, which will probably be a top 5, maybe even a top 3 pick.
I say top 5 pick. Kyrie, right. We know Kyrie's the man. He averaged 25.6 assists. He's taking that to Boston, the Celtic pride. They're getting a terrific player. They can team him up with Horford, Gordon Hayward, who they just picked up. They just traded for the Morris twin, Marcus Morris. You got the beast guy out the draft, Jason Tatum. Right. And you also still got Jaylen Brown there as well.
Yeah, I hate this fucking trade. I hate this trade because, all right, Isaiah Thomas to me is not a fit on Cleveland with LeBron. I mean, if you have LeBron as a teammate, it definitely gives you an edge to get to the finals, right? But these teams are going to be playing each other more than likely for a finals appearance, besides maybe your team, the Wizards, if they can step it up. Not a real pure fit with Isaiah and Kevin Love. Now, Kyrie's the man there, right? But their identity is gone. No more Avery Bradley, right? You lost Isaiah Thomas. You lost Jay Crowder. So all the guys that you had that brought you that toughness. I mean, you still got Marcus Smart there.
Yeah, you still got Smart.
You know, a few others kind of, dirty, nasty, throw them bows kind of guys. Yeah. But instead of being a tough kind of, thoroughbred, blue collar team, what are you now? You're a finesse team. Yep. So I'm not sure if that's going to be able to do the job. I mean, they're definitely going in the right direction. And then they're banking on LeBron leaving to go to LA or New York. And if that happens, Boston should be pretty much the front runner besides the Wizards and maybe Toronto moving forward. But I don't like the trade at all. Do you like it at all?
I mean, the Cavs is getting a shorter version of Kyrie.
Right.
Not really good defensively.
Injury prone.
He doesn't make anyone else better. But the Cavs is looking forward to the future. So everybody knows LeBron is peacing out after this year. He's headed to LA. But at least they'll get them a top 5 pick to kind of start the rebuilding process for him.
Right. But they're dangling the carrot in front of LeBron, be like, oh, we got Isaiah for you, even though, you don't like Kyrie or whatever. And, just please stay for, the rest of your career.
Right.
And pretty much after they didn't re-sign their GM, that pretty much fucked it up, pretty much for everybody after that, because then Kyrie was pissed, LeBron was pissed. Then there's trade talks, and you told them that you didn't necessarily want me, and maybe you wanted Paul George instead. And
Ron with the cell phone video,
right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, opening day, obviously in the NBA season, they're going to play each other, so we're going to see what's going to happen right off the gates, which is exciting. But I don't know. The NBA is crazy, man. I mean, this is football season, but hell of a trade. I mean, that just kind of came out of nowhere last night.
So the Cavs getting Isaiah Thomas, 28.6 assists he averaged last year. Jay Crowder, 14.6 rebounds, 2 assists. But the thing with Isaiah, he's still having a little hip issue. So there's no guarantee that he's going to be ready for the season opener.
Right. And that's a big reason, I think, where Boston gave up on him with Danny Ainge. That hip was the big reason.
Right.
But the thing is with Kyrie, even if it's, 1, 2, 3 year deal, how long is he going to stay there? Is he going to be there for the rest of his career? If he was going to be there for the rest of his career, then I could say that's probably a good move for Boston. But if at any point he decides to leave, it might not be the best move. And it was a number 1 pick for the last pick in the second round. So it shows you how far Isaiah has come, from pretty much nothing to a superstar. It took a few years to get there in a few different teams. But I don't like the trade, but you know what I mean? I know a lot of people probably love the trade, but the person I know that hates this trade as much as me is probably Isaiah Thomas. He probably feels real butthurt right now that they gave up on him.
I thought Isaiah was the face of the franchise out there in Boston.
Right. And what are they saying about him now? The teammates supposedly are saying that.
Yeah, they starting rumors about Isaiah saying he's a bad teammate and things like
right.
that.
That he didn't get along with everyone else, but that's just a bunch of, gibberish.
This is the first time in NBA history that two players that average over 25 points have been traded for. And also the first time in the offseason that there's a deal involving two players that met in the conference finals.
Right. Who would have thought that we would see this type of trade at this point of the NBA kind of off season? I mean,
it's kind of right around the corner.
Right.
Though.
But hey, the best part about this, we don't have to talk about this Kyrie thing anymore, right? It's done. No Kyrie for Dame. No, Kyrie for anybody else. It's over now. We can move on with our lives. And we can transition to other things like cheaters.
Right.
Mr.
John Bones Jones.
So that happened right after the Kyrie and Isaiah trade. This is sad because John Bones Jones arguably is one of the UFC fighters all time. Ever. Yeah. Period. You had Spider Silva and a few others that you could put up there. Stripped of the light heavyweight title, testing positive for steroids and who knows what else. So that Daniel Cormier fight, well, we thought that he was just back and he's going to be around. I want Brock Lesnar. Man, you ain't getting no Brock Lesnar.
Now we know why he wanted Brock.
Right, he wanted Brock Lesnar because he was on steroids. You know what I mean? Like,
man, this is kind of it's sad, man. To me, Bones Jones was the most exciting UFC fighter. Look at that. Just moves like that. Besides the Spider, he was the most exciting. He
GSP.
He drew
GSP pretty exciting too. George St. Pierre,
he just had the total package. He had the swag and he had the moves inside the ring to back it up. But this has just been a crazy year and a half for Bones Jones. He was banned 1 year for recreational drug use. He was involved in a hit and run accident. He did jail stint, and then he gets back up the roller coaster. You come back, you beat Cormier, get your belt back. And then now this.
And then we got a video from one of our favorite podcasters, Joe Rogan, has a little podcast talking about John Bones Jones and Chael Sonnen. So we want to definitely touch on this.
That claim they were there, but that doesn't make it true.
Might be guys tired of him beating the fuck out of them too.
That's right. All right. All the disclaimers aside, let's get down to the entertainment side of this. So USADA rolls in to Jackson's gym to do a test on John Jones. And there was only some coaches in there and there was like 5 people there at the time. So he can see them coming. Where they parked, he can see them coming. So they don't know what to do with him. They hide him underneath the cage. John Jones hides under the cage. They tell John, we don't know where he is. And this is before we were enrolled in the program. And he did not need to disclose his whereabouts. At the same time, if they show up and find you, you must vandalize this situation. You must test. They can't find you. You didn't have to test back then. So anyway, he hides under the ring. They say, well, where is he? He's supposed to, this is his gym. They say, well, how would I know where he is? So instead of leaving like they thought they would do, they take a seat. Well, there's like 8 hours left in the business day. They don't ever leave. However long with 6 or 8 hour time frame, John's under the cage the entire time. So people are coming and going. The whole thing is finally they shut the lights off and go to lock the doors. Now John can come out. Well, USADA found out about that. And they didn't do this. They wanted to get a warrant and go under that ring under the theory that at some point in that 6 to 8 hour span, he would have had to pee. Well, they wanted to go under forensically and collect that urine. That's how upset they were that they had been had. Now, I realize that we're saying all the nice stuff. That happened. How long was the time frame and all that part's
it's a great story. Even
they
if it
were
didn't
coming
happen.
after him after that. When they found out that they had been doing anything they hate, they don't like when people say their test doesn't work, and they don't like being duped.
I can think about how desperate they are too. They'll be like, not only when he's underneath the cage, they want to test the pee that's on the ground that he peed underneath the cage just to bust him.
They say, we know you fucking up. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna wait this 8 hours. You in here somewhere.
Right. We're getting that pee. We getting the pee. We're gonna get you. But a sad story though. It almost reminds me of like anybody that you really look up to or someone that does something great.
Sosa,
the doubt, right? Lance Armstrong,
Bonds,
right? The list goes on and on. Rafael Palmeiro. But now Aaron Judge. That's kind of the next big name. If it comes out in the next 2 years that he was roiding or doing PEDs, would it surprise me? Hell no. Because I mean, he is a great talent.
Yes,
he's 6'8", got the LeBron James body, but it's just sad now in sports where you just can't trust anybody anymore.
Nope.
You think they're great. You think, oh, they just eat right. They do all the hard work. They lift weights. They just work harder than everyone else. And then you find out that they just fucking cheated. And it just kills, the fans of those respective, people.
Hurts the fans' heart to definitely find out something like this. Because like I said, Bones Jones, man, he was one of the top entertainers. When he was fighting, you made sure that you watched that Bones
Where the
Jones
fuck was his
fight,
brother
man.
at? You know what I mean? Chandler Jones. I mean, he's in the NFL, right? Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has no control over his brother. I mean,
it didn't help him out, or
he's like, fuck it, do the steroids. Go after Brock Lesnar, right?
All right, so let's move on, man. Because the Bones Jones is about to bring a tear to my eye,
I
man.
know, right?
It's sad, man. So yesterday we gave you guys our top 10 fantasy football players. So today we want to give you our top 5 sleepers.
All right, these sleepers are going to be guys you definitely want to have an eye on. None of these guys, except for maybe number 1, will go in the first maybe couple rounds. But if you can stash these guys on the bench, maybe time to time, this is going to be a great option moving forward. And these guys will get you some points, definitely guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. So let's kick it off. Let's start at number 5.
All right, so number 5, we got a stud wide receiver that started to break out last year. One of Kirk Cousins' favorite targets. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the wide receiver stud, Jamison Crowder.
Jamison Crowder, that's my guy, of course, from the Washington Redskins. He's a great.
Right.
A good thing about Crowder is that Deshaun, so they're looking for someone to step up and to fill in to get those receptions that used to be going to D. Jackson Garcon.
All right, 2016 stats, 67 receptions, 847 yards, 12.6 average per catch, and a nice, cool, smooth 7 TDs. Look at that speed. Look at that breakaway ability, taking it to the house. Kirk Cousins now has Dotson coming back from injury. Okay. Ryan Crowder, Terrell Pryor, obviously in the offseason, Jordan Reed. That's a pretty sexy lineup right there. A lot of points to be had in fantasy. So if you can stash this guy away as maybe wide receiver number 3 or 4, it's going to pay dividends moving forward, especially in your bye week. And then you never know. I mean, if you're playing in a league with 3 wide receivers instead of 3 running backs, for one of your extra pieces, you may be able to you may be able to throw him in there from time to time, and he'll be able to break away like that against the Giants and get you a nice, cool 6, easy 10 points in some of the games I think this year.
Yes, with Crowder. So last year he had 12 passes and 5 TDs over 15 yards plus. So look for him to kind of fill that role that D-Jax left to take the top off the defense as well.
Right, a lot more targets for him moving forward.
Oh, yeah. So let's go to our number 4 player.
All right, receiver from the Minnesota Vikings, a guy that started to kind of break out last year and get some kind of connection with Sam Bradford after the Teddy Bridgewater catastrophe with his injury. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the stud wide receiver, Adam Thielen.
Mr. Adam Thielen, a good thing for him this year. His strength of schedule is the second easiest for wide receivers. So there's a little nugget for you guys out there. He had 92 targets last year, 69 receptions. Another thing about him, he's durable. He played in all 16 games.
Right, not Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Stephon Diggs has more ceiling, right? But he gets injured all the time. So, so Bradford has a better connection with Thielen. Like you mentioned, 69 receptions last year, 967 yards, 14 yards per average catch, 5 TDs, and I could see that doubling going into this year. But realistically, I would think maybe somewhere between the 6 and 9 range, unless he gets really hot and maybe Diggs goes down with an injury. Right. But with Dalvin Cook there, they're going to hand the ball off quite a bit. Latavius Murray is not healthy yet, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for Thielen to shine. I don't know if Bridgewater's coming back ever. Maybe not with the Vikings, but that Sam Bradford trade looks pretty fucking smart now, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It looked kind of dumb, last year, but it looks like it's paying dividends moving forward, especially with the Bridgewater injury.
Like you said, him and Bradford seem to have a real good connection. And then you got to think, when you look at the Vikings and their weapons, besides Stephon Diggs, you have Kyle Rudolph and then Thielen.
Right. So Dalvin Cook will be showing out this year too, though.
Yes,
so I think he's going to get a lot of time. And then if Latavius Murray, formerly of the Oakland Raiders, if he can get healthy, that's a nice 1-2 punch, and that'll open up some good third down options for him. Few slants, maybe stop and go, some post routes. He can run all the routes.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of like a Cole Beasley,
Cole Beasley,
kind of clone. You know what I mean? But he might be
Edelman.
Yeah, kind of. I'm not sure if he's better than Cole Beasley, but I mean, we'll see this year if he can step it up.
Put up similar numbers. I think.
Absolutely. All right, our number 3 player is a wide receiver that is jam-packed with talent surrounding him on the left side and the right side. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the wide receiver stud, Sterling Shepard.
Hey, Mr. Sterling Shepard. He scored a couple of TDs on the Redskins. I ain't really like that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that he has 8 TDs last year as a rookie, and then we're calling him a sleeper.
Right.
That's crazy. You know, Brandon Marshall, they just picked him up. He's a little banged up to start the season. Also, Odell with the ankle.
Right.
So if you're looking for someone in the first couple of games to put up some big numbers, this may be your guy.
Right. Last year, 2016, he had 65 receptions with OBJ on the other side, 683 yards, 10.5 average per catch, 8 TDs, like you mentioned. And I can see him easily getting to the double-digit mark this year.
Right.
You know, obviously you have plenty of weapons with Brandon Marshall and OBJ, but we don't know how really much time that all the receivers are going to be on the field together, but he definitely can hang.
Oh yeah.
You know, he definitely is skilled enough to hang. So, and they don't really have a star running back yet. So they're going to be passing the ball a hell of a lot.
So good Eli, bad Eli.
Good. Well, we'll see. It is going to go like that from year to year. Good Eli, bad Eli. But obviously, if he can stay healthy and as long as Eli's in the backfield, all those guys are going to rack up plenty of fantasy stats moving forward.
All right. So there you guys have it. Our number 3 player. So let's move on to number 2.
All right. Number 2 is a player that we kind of talk. A lot of people are sleeping on. The backfield is crowded on this team for the Cincinnati Bengals. Don't get me wrong. But this rookie is starting to kind of shine in preseason and showing maybe his worth. And he might steal the starting spot maybe a quarter or halfway through the season, you know, depending on injuries and how he shows out.
Sometime soon.
Right? Sometime soon. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the running back, rookie Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. I know everybody was kind of, you know, why you guys drafted him? He likes to beat up women.
Right. Got the domestic violence. You know, not good look for the NFL.
Well, he's on the road to repair his image, man, and make everybody think that, you know, I was a kid, I made a mistake, it's over with. But Joe Mixon, he, you know, Jeremy Hill struggles at times.
Right.
And Bernard is coming off of ACL.
Right.
So it's going to be plenty of opportunity for him to step up and be given a chance to make plays. Just Bernard himself last year averaged 10 carries a game and also 5 catches a game. And if Bernard is going to start the season on the PUP list, who's those catches and carries going to go to?
Right. And Jeremy Hill likes to fumble a lot, even though I like him. You know what I mean? So look at him just rip up my Bucks right here. This is disgusting.
This is rare athleticism.
Right.
Speed.
Great speed, great receiving skills out of the backfield. Look at this juke right here. Bye. Making me want to switch my team there to another team. But he's going to be able to do that all year long. Not someone that you're going to want to draft right away. But if he's creeping there, you know, maybe in that, I don't know, maybe 4th through 6th round, and you're still looking to add some depth to your running backs just in case of injuries, this guy could legitimately start. And if he breaks out with a few 100-yard games right out the gates, he's not going to lose that spot.
No,
he's going to take that spot. And then eventually Bernard or Hill will both be gone. Or maybe they'll keep one out of those two moving forward. But I really do think that there's a great chance for this player to shine. And they have plenty of weapons, obviously, at the wide receiver position.
Yep.
And Dalton looks pretty good. So look out for Joe Mixon. I think he's going to be doing big things this year.
All right. And so let's move on to our number 1 fantasy sleeper this year.
All right. I'm not even sure if this is a sleeper because this guy is so good. You could arguably pick this guy in your first round with like a Jordy Nelson.
Right.
I mean, it's debatable. I mean, going over guys like maybe like AJ Green, the popular pick. But if you're looking for stats, this guy's going to give you plenty. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the wide receiver stud that plays with Drew Brees and the Saints, the no-namer from Ohio State, Michael Thomas.
Mr. Michael Thomas, he's a no-name, but he won't be no-name for pretty long.
Nope.
He's only one of 2 rookies in NFL history to have caught 90 receptions, go over 1,100 yards, and to score 9 TDs. You know who the other one was?
Who was it?
We call him OBJ.
Yeah,
Odell Beckham
Jr.
Yeah, this is going to be a great sleeper pick. He caught 76% of his targets last year. That's amazing. He scored on 7 of his 13 red zone catches. So you know what that means? Cha-ching, points.
Yeah, fantasy points all day long. Last year, 92 receptions, 1,137 yards, 12.4 average per catch, a cool 9 TDs. And guess what? The number one player that was on their team last year, Brandon Cooks,
Exactly.
right, is gone. So
117 targets a game.
Right.
Cooks.
So I really think that there's going to be over 100 receptions for Michael Thomas, and that's going to give him plenty of opportunities to get in the end zone. And if I had to put money on it, I almost guarantee he's going to get over double-digit touchdowns because of his height, his length, his hands, red zone targets, his durability. Speed. This is going to be a crazy 1-2 combo with Breeze. And it's kind of nice because the Colston era kind of ended during, obviously with their tight end,
Shockey,
that they had, and obviously with the trades that they've made, he's going to be good.
He is pretty good.
I'm not even shitting you right now. Like if I was going to be doing a draft and I had a late first round pick, I think I would take him over AJ Green.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if it was between him, maybe like Jordy Nelson, I would pick Jordy Nelson and Michael Thomas over AJ Green just because of durability. I think they're going to get more targets. And like you said, in fantasy, it's not necessarily about star power name.
Right.
It's about the targets and the stats that you're going to put up. And I love this pick. A few other kind of sleepers I just want to touch on.
Hold on.
All right, what are you going to go over?
You just stumped me, man.
What's up?
The Saints tight end.
Who'd you?
I said Shockey, man. Yeah. Jimmy Graham. Right. I don't know how I didn't think of that.
Right.
Well, sorry about that.
That's like back in the day, though. You were going way back.
I know.
Right.
I like Shockey. All right. Sorry about that.
Right. But he ended up helping them win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Right. But then they had the little scandal, obviously, on the back end. But Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Corey Davis, the rookies. You got to look out for these guys. A guy that I'm kind of looking at, Kenny Britt. Right.
Oh, on the Browns.
On the Browns, right. Because obviously Terrell Pryor is on your team now.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be plenty of opportunities now. Their quarterback situation is still,
up and
right. Kaiser looked kind of good, but
he looked really good.
Right. So maybe there'll be some opportunities there. Rashard Matthews from the Titans with Mariota maybe being healthy. Yep. Him and Corey Davis might be able to show out.
Corey Davis.
Right.
That's a good one too.
Right. Because Mike Williams had the injury. So he obviously is going to be the better wide receiver out of those, high profile wide receivers in the draft. Your boy, Josh Doxson. If he can come back from injury, him and Jamison Crowder could do big things. But the biggest sleeper I have, and I'm telling you right now, if you need a tight end and you don't want Gronk, right, and you don't want Jordan Reed, and you don't want Kelsey, or if you do, but you just draft them too late,
right?
This is the sleeper tight end. I'm going to tell you right now, pay attention, Hunter Henry. I'm going to say it again.
Who?
Hunter Henry. Chargers tight end last year, 8 TDs. He's the sleeper.
Everybody's like Antonio Gates.
Right. Yeah. Well, he'll still get his, right? But this guy is solid. And I think that if you can pick him up somewhere between, I don't know, maybe 6th to 9th round, that might cover you for the whole season. And then you just have to pick a guy by week. But he's probably ultimately my second favorite overall fantasy sleeper pick. I didn't want to put him in the top 5 just because he's a tight end.
Right.
But I just think for value, if you don't get Gronk, you don't get Kelsey, you don't get Eifert, you don't get Jordan Reed, you don't get OJ Howard, as the list, Martellus Bennett. If you go way, way, way down there and you're, maybe like the 8th or 9th or 10th guy to get a tight end, pick up Hunter Henry. He's going to do big things, and I think he can get double-digit tight end touchdowns for you in fantasy, and that could definitely help because, as you know, we talked about it yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Shitty tight end, right? Shitty kicker, shitty defense. That's going to help you lose unless you have shitty fantasy team overall. You're, even if you have a good quarterback, running back, wide receivers, you need that bottom end of your fantasy team to be good to be able to win week in and week out and get to the championship game.
All right, so there you guys have it. We'll be back at you real soon with a new video.
Right.
We still need to do some type of season preview.
Right. College football coming up this weekend.
Man, I can't wait.
Which will be exciting. Hopefully we don't have any other stars cheating that we have to report about. But
and if they do, we'll be back at you with a new video.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. My name is Marcus, and this is Orion. I only got one question for y'all. Who talk sports like us?
Northwest Sports Fanatics.